appreciate this type of cinematic art.
Last year around Halloween, I put out a video on a comic book that I personally found very interesting, something that I'd never quite heard about, and something that was actually from a very small mom and pop shop that is a lot more well known these days. And inside of this comic book lined a bunch of different horrific black and white artworks. A certain group of people that would reside inside of a mall that would transform into rats and slowly start feeding people to other people, all the way to a terrifyingly sad story about a young man who would essentially be trapped inside of a dresser until he inevitably perished. And while these were very dark stories, I've come to find that GORE SHRIEK DELECTUS is just, a little bit silly. It's not quite as dark as I ever thought it would be. It's just something that I find very goofy at this point after coming across a few more issues and kind of reading a little more of what it has to offer, and that is exactly what I would like to share with you all today. Another issue from GORE SHRIEK DELECTUS. One of these single issues, and sadly one that only has one story that I don't already own, but a story that nonetheless I find very funny. Something that would actually call upon two geniuses who would decide that it is extremely easy to make any horror movie, and on top of being easy, also insanely cheap. And while this really is the truth, and happens to be why horror movies can grow so much money unless you're things like the newest Jeepers Creepers, or anything along those lines where you are able to so tragically able to completely and utterly drop the ball. But in this story, they would have something a little bit different. Something that we've probably all heard about before from the Evil Dead franchise. Essentially having the Necronomicon in their own possession, and instead of just buying some cheap corn syrup, mixing a little bit of food coloring, actually calling upon the dead in a very George Romero-esque fashion. Actually allowing all their different actors to be torn to shreds. And towards the end of the story, they would meet their own demise. Only in a less fatalistic way, but nonetheless inevitably getting their own comeuppance. So everybody, this is a very short story, but nonetheless something that I think that maybe we can all enjoy. And maybe after this, I don't know, maybe we can, get into something a little more less tragic, something a little less horrifying. But I guess what I'm really trying to ask is, are you all satisfied with the stories that I've covered on this channel? Would you like to kind of see me diversify myself into a few different genres? Or maybe even just putting out smaller, shorter videos on just, kind of me rambling on about comics that I've read and enjoyed. I've been doing this channel for about 2 years now, and I really don't want to become, a one-trick pony, so I guess I just want to know if you all are kind of satisfied with the videos that I'm able to put out, or if you'd like to eventually see something else coming from, myself. Bryant, from the heart. But yes, everybody, let's get right into this. And where we'll begin with our story is in a very Creepshow-like fashion, with GORE SHRIEK DELECTUS' very own mascot, a man without a name and a skeleton with a top hat. Hey boys and ghouls, here's a tasty one for you. Once upon a crime, two would-be entrepreneurs decided to make a shoddy little zombie movie. Do it quick, dirty, and cheap, just like all the others. They found it almost too easy at first, but later there'd be hell to pay. And as we begin the story, we would reach all the way across town to a man who was steadily reading the newspaper after about 10 or 11 drinks. Jeez, this looks easy as pie. I'll bet anybody can make one of those sorry-ass splatter movies. I think I'll give Roger a buzz. He's gonna want a piece of this too. And all the way across town, a phone will begin to ring. Only it would seem that his friend Roger really isn't too excited to hear him. And I'm not really sure exactly who Roger was expecting, but this man really does seem to be in the midst of violence with whoever he thinks is calling him. But only short after would just kind of drop this entire thing, and we would never get to know the story of Roger's rage.
Hey, what? I'll kill this son of a bitch. Hey, you shit-brained eel. Oh, it's you.
Yeah, sorry, Raj. I've got a hell of an idea. So meet me for lunch tomorrow, and bring that funky book of yours, okay? 24 hours later.
Hey, Biffaroo, my man. Let me get this straight.
We shoot some cheap non-union quickie with zombies, teens, and a machete. Hire a bunch of dopes.
We sell out the foreign TV rights. Domestic video. Oh yeah, and here's the book.
And this is the moment in the story where he would essentially pull out the Necronomicon, or the Ex Mortis, the Book of the Dead. Only none of them would really seem to be too fazed about this, and Roger would never really explain how exactly this man came to have such a possession. And by the time they both kind of sit down to actually read this book, they would both kind of come to the conclusion that this is really just something by a bunch of Kansas satanic worshippers that, maybe don't know exactly what they're doing, but for some reason would be brought anyway, and for some reason would actually work. And as Biff and Roger would eventually leave this little cafe, Biff would get incredibly inspired and start trying to scout out all these different venues, all these different places where they could kind of shoot this zombie movie, and he finds basically the cheapest one that he could possibly find, something that would be pleasing aesthetically to any kind of zombie movie, and something that would obviously make a lot of sense. And where he would end up is at a cemetery. And in no time at all, casting calls will be put out.
Open casting call urgently needed. Actors full crew for new horror movie. For top pay, call 666-3925. So Jennifer, you have no objections to doing total nudity or having your lungs ripped out and eaten by zombies?
No, but I really want to direct. And with this little scene, and something that would seem all too a little bit Harvey Weinstein-ish, and something that I just don't really care for at this point, very punk rock looking actors will begin to kind of roll in, trying to get the head lead part of the zombie, or the people that would inevitably be eaten by said zombies. People by the name of Psycho Johnny, and a lot of people who would fashion themselves with Liberty spikes and plaid flannels, and all the, the usual sort of any kind of emo, screamo, or even gothic exteriors.
Well, Rock, we've done it. Cast the whole movie and rented an equipment. Yeah, good work, Biff. I figure we're saving around 25 grand on the effects alone. Whoa, Johnny Psycho got the part. People will do anything to get in the movies. Gotta hand it to you, Biff. Yeah, I know. I'm a hell of a genius. Well, here's to the blood in your eye.
And as everybody would go home for the night and begin to kind of party on and celebrate their newfound roles to be eaten or to eat, the next day and the final production of this movie would come to a toe. And suddenly, lights, cameras, and the surprising lack thereof will begin this terrible project between two complete idiots who would put everybody in their own harm's way. And this honestly is where things are really going to get interesting, where things are going to start to get very, very ridiculous, where they would start to kind of chant stuff out of this book, and where it would call to a bunch of different horror film legends, such as Wes Craven, Falsetti, and George Romero himself. And honestly, just a bit of an Easter egg that I really thought was, kind of funny.
Now get right. There's no need to shoot more than 2 takes. Okay, now Jack, you're doing fine, and I want you to read a chant from this book. Try to sound real evil-like. I call forth the unclean spirits, and mine, con carne. And Jack gets into it. Cronenbergus corruptum et non sum septum, falsidia mater Romero quail vivo, and robustus raggio con cravener, rise dead ones.
And suddenly, the dark hands of hell would burst out of the ground. And with this next panel, I gotta say, I really do enjoy the artwork in GORE SHRIEK DELECTUS. I really do think they have some really talented hands in these things, with very heavy black lining, and a style that really does scream an 80s horror themed comic book. But as one of these zombies would reach out towards the sky, unburying himself little by little, we would see a bunch of different rats sitting below him with a giant question mark above their heads. Only soon, this question mark would kind of begin to spread across everybody in this film crew.
Biff smells blood in the air. Lights, camera. Alright, now let's see some action. And the set becomes Lucille Fulci's greatest hits. Only this time, it's for real. Fucking A, dude. There goes the goddamn career. The Z's kick some ass. Keep those cameras rolling, you chicken shits. The damn shot or you don't get paid.
And with this extremely gory material, I gotta say, everybody here is not really reacting the way that you think they might. Where you might think they would be screaming out in terror and pain, these people would be more concerned with their careers. And something that honestly, is written to be a little goofy. And honestly, the ending of the story also must be written this way. So, because as we would see with the upcoming pages, and when this movie would finally be released, we would see 2 very young gentlemen who would talk in a way that I've never heard anybody talk before. And in a way that I absolutely refuse to believe that anybody in any day and age would have ever talked. But nonetheless, as everybody is being completely and utterly torn apart, Biff and Roger would grab all the film, grab all the equipment, and rush out of the cemetery as fast as they possibly can. After all, they did essentially just complete a mass murdering, and while it might not physically have been by their hand, it was these 2 that managed to acquire the Book of the Dead, or the Ex Mortis, or the Necronomicon, and unleash this hell upon a bunch of seemingly innocent people.
That should do it. Grab the film and let's move. Jeez, Biff, I'm feeling sick. What have we done? Made ourselves one righteous splatter flick. Piece of fucking cake. Not for some post-production work.
4 months later.
Wow, did you see these rude photos of that new zombie film? Sure looks like a winner. Can't wait till Friday. Jumbo Barfarama. Yeah, I got a feeling this is the one.
And this would be what I'm talking about. So what I need everybody to do is to maybe go ask some older people that you know, maybe your parents, maybe your grandparents, and ask them if Jumbo Barfarama was ever a heavily used phrase. But as the movie would finally come out in production and finally hit the theaters, Biff and Roger would seemingly begin to go missing, leaving a lot of people unpaid. And if that's the case, it would almost seem that they also want to be paid, because I don't know if you can really make money on a movie that hasn't really come out yet and actually flee before its actual release.
Whatever happened to Biff and Roger? You know those creeps that made that zombie movie? I don't know, but they still owe me for the film processing. Let's sit up there in the front row. Don't want to miss a thing. To be young and free and at a zombie movie. Oh lordy, no, not again. I can't believe it. Look at those zombies. Bogus. Totally bogosity. Yeah, look at the one dude. That's just bad prosthetic work. Check out the phony guts. Couldn't they at least gotten somebody good to do all the effects? This shit is pathetic. Man, what a burn. Those filmmakers can rot in hell. What a ripoff. Cheer up, man. Let's hit that bookstore over there. Maybe the new Fangoria's in. Nothing over there is gonna make me feel any better. Yeah, fuck it. We probably miss our bus anyway.
And in the very last shot of this extremely ridiculous story, we would see a newspaper arise. And on the front page would be none other than Biff and Roger rotting in hell. Or rather, in prison, which, you know, to some people could be the exact same thing. Finally taking down for their mass slaying at this cemetery, and what our last panel will be, would be the creepshow-like mascot that would bring us out of this story.
Such a pity, no. Kind of renews your faith in things, huh? Zombies and horror fans are not to be fucked with. You've been warned.
And this would be the end of our story. Something that I found very fun, and honestly I do want more of these Gore Shriek Delectus comic books, if not just to kind of collect them all, because I do think that the artwork inside of these things are very good. And I'm not even trying to say that all the stories are bad, because some of them are actually, you know, very interesting when they're a little bit more fleshed out, as the first video that I did where I covered 3 different stories with mall rats, all the way to the little boy who was kind of trapped in a cupboard or a dresser of sorts, and all the way to the other one about, you know, a crazy old man just kind of rampaging through the woods and kind of abusing his own family. These things were stories that, you know, had a little bit of weight to them, or at least just a little bit more story. But like I said, I really do think that this one was probably written to be just about as goofy as possible, or maybe even kind of like an Archie comic in a newspaper, just with all the dialogue and things like that, and you know, the woman kind of showing her breasts also so she can be a director. It's all very raunchy, very crass, very gory all at the same time, and yeah, everybody, I'm not gonna sit here and try to praise this. I'm not gonna tell you that it's the best thing ever, but it is something that I did find rather fun. But yes, everybody, I do hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know if you want to see some more Gore Shriek Delectus, or if you'd like me to kind of brush past these things and find something a little more story heavy. Something, you know, that has a little bit of weight to it. A little bit of meat, one person might say. Something to really dig your teeth down into. And before we head out of this video, I gotta say, I'm sorry if my accents were kind of going off the wall. I was really envisioning, you know, people from New York and such, but I kind of, you know, began to forget who's had what accent and things like that. And yes, I'm just up in this room and I'm just, you know, kind of having some fun. So things are gonna be just a little bit wonky. But anyways, everybody, have yourself an absolutely fantastic day. Thank you all so much for watching my videos. It means so much to me. And yes, it's cool to be back from vacation. We are on the second video afterwards, and we're gonna, you know, keep trying to kind of plunge my way through, work our way all the way to the Halloween season. I do think I have a few really good stories planned. I would really like to go back to Batman Blood Rain, where the Batman himself would inevitably be turned into a vampire, and a story that I just really think is rather cool. And outside of that, there's some other stories that I've tried to do for like the last 2 Halloweens, and you know, just have kind of fumbled and failed to do so. And yeah, I'm trying to kind of plan some things out, trying to kind of get everybody excited. But yeah, but like I said, everybody, have yourself an absolutely fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all on the next episode of From the Heart.